Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the season finale. Soccer's Overtime, Season 7, Episode 16. For the third straight year, this show ends with the title Picking Up the Pieces instead of cleaning up the confetti. They had to clean up the confetti down at Quarter Sport Arena, where the Chihuahua Savage won their third straight MASL Ron Newman Cup championship. We're here to talk about it after a weekend in Mexico for yours truly, and an even stranger trip for Tony Sanchez to Las Vegas and WrestleMania. What's happening?
I wish I could say it was the greatest weekend of my life. In supporting the San Diego Sockers from afar, watching the game as WrestleMania was unfurling in front of me, but it just made it hurt that much more. It could have
Was the result as scripted as WrestleMania?
It seemed like it, actually.
Right. Well, first off, I want to say thanks to the Major Arena Soccer League. This is not a Chihuahua gold medal. They made sure to bend this a way that you don't see the champions. And it doesn't say champions. It just says MASL 2025. This was a gift for announcing the grand final for the league. So it would have been the ultimate troll move to show up at 5 o'clock on the bus. Like, that would have been my last morning with the Sockers, but I mean, it would have been a funny movie scene. Now, here's yeah. However, I think this is a big show. We're going to wrap up with a very big show here on the show tonight. Sockers go to Chihuahua, Savage prevail. We'll play the highlights that we've got. We'll talk about it. I'll give you all the insight from being there, from traveling with the team Friday, being there at the shoot around Saturday, being there at the final on Sunday, and everything in between. We'll have it all for you. Plus, at the bottom of the hour, assistant coach and Soccer's general manager, CHIKY Luna. Not only to dissect what happened and discuss the end of the season and discuss the future of the club, but also he was right in the middle of what happened at the end of the second quarter of match 2 on Sunday night. Something that was straight up missed by the league. We're going to give you an eyewitness account of something that so far I haven't seen any true footage of yet. Tell you all the story behind that as well. It's just the wildest thing, but it was the wildest night. And then we'll have our end of the year MASL news. What did the commissioner have to say? Like I said, the story of the trip, and what's the summer left to bring for the Sockers and for the league. We'll talk about it all right here on Soccer's Overtime. Welcome, everybody. It's great to be here. Tony, it could have been you and us, buddy. I know, but WrestleMania was a pre-planned thing more than an Easter Sunday grand final. But yeah, I appreciate your fandom from being afar. But if you were there, you could have gotten the chance to climb the ladder of legends.
Yeah, in the showcase of the Immortals, really, just I'm truly ruined for any live sporting event or just live event entertainment. Nothing will ever top this. I can potentially, and I've been really thinking about this. Potentially a San Diego Padres Game 7 game in Petco Park victory. That may top it, but nothing else in my life will ever top a WrestleMania weekend in Las Vegas. It was spectacular. Literally, I would recommend it to everybody. Just positivity overall with a bunch of like-minded people. I was sitting next to a guy from Germany named Matthias. And he's a FC Augsburg fan. And I was just explaining to him what I was watching because he was like, "Oh, I like football." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like the San Diego Sockers. This and just kind of gave him the history. And told him the entire storyline of the San Diego Sockers climbing back the ladder into the championship game against these rivals, the Chihuahua Savage. They're going to be the ones that, it's literally wrestling, what the San Diego Sockers were going through. And, just ultimately we became, I gained Sockers gained a fan, in the middle of WrestleMania, just, in this. And, you saw me almost like clutching my pearls when you were talking about like things that happened, because all I know is what was on Golazo and subsequently on YouTube, because I did go back and just kind of, compared, like, hey, comparatively, what was going on in which one. Some of the commercials are different, like little things like that. So I'm very interested to hear what went down when you guys were there, like in person. So that's better than any, satellite sent over internet, Wi-Fi, editing, black magic sort of voodoo that happens in Corner Sport Arena. Is it really? I mean, it's exactly what everybody thought it was and think it is. Like, it's just a box
No,
of.
it's way more. It's way
Oh,
more.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it's way more. It's an impregnable fortress.
yeah,
When it is at its full power, fully built and operational, it's an impregnable fortress. I can't even imagine like what the way it was set up for a grand final. I can't even imagine. But as to halftime, we're going to get to that. I saw what I saw after the game. I was told by a lead official that what I saw I didn't see, and that he saw something different on film. I have no idea what film he's talking about, because I know that our personal crew was not showing that. Camera was out at the exact wrong time. And I know that on the Mexican broadcast, they were showing a highlight reel as it
yeah.
happened. And they played through all 8 goals as everything was happening. And then they came back to the very tail end of it. So I've talked to the Sockers that were involved personally. I've heard their eyewitness accounts, and you will hear an eyewitness account from Cheeky Luna later in the show. And we'll get to the bottom of what happened at halftime. Now, in saying that and getting ready to play the reel, I want to make one thing abundantly clear. The Savage won the championship fair and square. Fair play, Chihuahua. They dominated, just the way they've dominated all year long. Think about this. It was 4-2 San Diego with about 3-ish minutes left in the second quarter. 4-2 San Diego. The perfect winning formula. Take 4-2 into the half, right? From that moment to the end of the knockout game, the score was Chihuahua 14, San Diego 2. So whatever we're going to say about a call here, a decision there, a card here, a foul there, any of those things, understand the Savage were the best team. They won home field advantage, and their home field advantage is something that you can't beat. Not yet. Not any American team, not for 34 matches in a row. 34 in a row. Only 4 times in the history of Corner Sport Arena has an American team come to Chihuahua and emerged with a win. 3 of those happened in the first season. And in fact, in the first 7 games played by the Savage. 1 happened the next year. It was San Diego. Sockers have won 3 times. Milwaukee won 1 time. No one else has won. And it's 34 in a row since for Chihuahua. Also, and in addition to, Tony, for everyone who says, okay, well, we lost it when we didn't get home field advantage. Yes, but the Sockers have lost to Chihuahua in a knockout game 3 seasons in a row. And those scores were 1-0 in overtime, 2-1 in regulation, 6-0 in regulation. So that part of the equation hasn't been solved at all. That part of the equation hasn't been solved whatsoever. So before we get into anything else, I just want to make this so clear. The Chihuahua Savage won the MASL Supporters Shield. The Chihuahua Savage won the MASL 2 Championship. The Chihuahua Savage won the MASL Women's Championship inaugural. The Chihuahua Savage won their third straight Ron Newman Cup. They had the MVP, they had the finals MVP, they had 2 players in the Elite Six. They're the dominant team in the Major Arena Soccer League. They are the legacy team right now. They are building the most impregnable legacy in the Major Arena Soccer League. They've got 3 MASL championships to 2 of San Diego. And this is a passionately run organization with an incredible fan base and a veteran team that's built with an academy behind it, that's putting young players into the system to go through 2 to 1 to keep the pipeline rolling above and beyond the advantages of visas and everything else. The league has to come to reckon with the fact that Chihuahua's doing it better than everybody else. And then you get to the field, and then you understand you ain't coming out of here with anything but confetti in your hair watching some celebration.
Yeah, and literally think about that. And once you get to the field, they've already won because of everything that happens off the field. Chihuahua is the measuring stick in indoor soccer in the MASL, and you know what? Again, very, very, very good to see the health of a team be able to maintain for so long and sustain itself. Look at what Monterey had, right? Like, they're gone. They weren't here this entire year. They were the best team in regulation. Also serve everything, all those championships and the three-peat on a supporter shield. Like, that's how it's served. And here you go. They just throw that in there. Why not? They took that night one from Front Wave Arena, and they were like, all right, cool. I guess we have to pay for a carry-on or an extra set of luggage. But again, like, congratulations to Chihuahua. They have a winning operation, and that's what the San Diego Sockers have been for years. And there's a new sheriff in town. That's what's happening. And I think, to echo Susan, is, yeah, just accept that they are the best. They are, until proven otherwise. There is no other team that is better than the Chihuahua Savage. Any given day, any floor, anything against, odds stacked against them, even in the playoff scenario.
A
Everything
playoff
was,
basically built to beat them.
yeah. And even then, they still couldn't be beat. And I'm not even going to say that the Sockers couldn't beat them. No, it's just Savage cannot be beat with the circumstances that they gave themselves. And you can go back and again say, the first Tacoma match, this was back in the day. This is back, like, sure, you can point to moments and instances throughout the season where it could have turned around. It could have been a point where they should have won this game by more. They shouldn't have, had a second quarter that was a little more pedantic than should have been. And that but it's in the details that Chihuahua does so many things right that once they have to go into a championship situation, it's second nature. It doesn't matter what's in front of them. They focus on themselves so much that once they get there, that's the easy part. The hard part was getting to the championship game. The easy part was winning it. And clearly, with a mini game scoreline, with everything putting into consideration, that mini game scoreline is a reflection of the team, Chihuahua, and everybody else.
And everything that is baked into, you want to go to Corner Sport Arena and win? Good luck, pal. Let's roll the highlights. This is from the Spanish language broadcast that aired on MASL TV on YouTube. We had sometimes access to their feed. And of course, it's a great start for the San Diego Sockers all the way around. They really came out fired up. And there's Drew Ruggles getting the initial goal of the game 3.5 minutes in. But, I just can't emphasize how much the Sockers were flying around the field in the first quarter, in the first 20 minutes, in the first 25 minutes. Here's Leo going over the top, going, like kind of a huffy bike here for 2-0, with the banana seat. Boris was playing great. Overall, it was all working out well for San Diego. But with this place, it's little things. There it is. One step late 2 runners were flying down the right wing, and Diego Reynoso can throw one perfectly inside the line and connect. Now, Sockers get it right back, having an incredible match in match 2 of the grand final. Mitchell Cardenas, he scores for 3-1, and you're like, wait a second, maybe this really is, a Sockers kind of night, because they're doing it and they still haven't gotten anything from Morgan, they haven't gotten anything from Childs, et cetera, right? Well, here we go with another one. And can you pause and go back on that real quick? Because this is one of the things I truly realized, and more on it maybe a little bit later, about this field, where it's not just one thing. It's not just look what the way the ball came out of the corner. It's kind of like knowing a dead spot on the board. Boop, boop. Takes a sideways hop. Normally, where you saw that hit in the middle of the board, you'd expect it to come back out at a diagonal angle, but instead it skip right over to the man on the back post for the back post, poke in Ramon Ramirez. I saw it all over the field, Tony. There's dead spots on the boards. There's spots where if you hit it, it's going to pop up. There's spots where you hit it and it's going to go super hard. And the Savage know them. It's like they've got the secret treasure map around the plastic. It's plastic filled with water. Meanwhile, 4-2, this great set piece, Child's contribution to the match right here. And Leo. At this point, Leo is playing out of his mind. Christian Gutierrez is playing out of his mind. And Cesar Cerda, as I told him, was playing one of the best games I've ever seen him play. Any stage, anywhere, anytime. But in the second quarter, things start to unravel. Is that a handball? No, it's not. Of course it's not. Late in the quarter, Pardo, great save. Late in the quarter, another restart. I can't emphasize, this has to be edited out for time. Chihuahua had 15 shots in the second quarter. About 8 of them were offset pieces. It was one 3-line pass or defensive clearance after another, or foul in the zone. And here's the instant answer back to equalize. Just moving the ball around. Well, deflection off Cardenas. So disappointing. Nothing you can do. These guys have been selling out all night. That's just a bad break. And it's 4-4. It's almost 5-4. Now, we're getting toward the end of the second quarter here. And another great save. And then here comes Chabo. I just want you to stop this right there. The league said officially, via the cards given, that the first person off the bench was an assistant coach for the Chihuahua Savage. Okay? Take a look. Who's there? Please take a look. Who's that? Who's out on the field? Now, that 0-1, the clock was wrong all night, so don't worry about that. But who's on the field? Who's on the field? Chabo's on the field.
Chabo.
That's Chabo. That's my friend, Chabo. I like Chabo. Okay, now we're back. This is way at the end of all this. That's Felipe at the end yelling at people. This came after the highlight reel. All right? But if you go all the way back there to like the last 5 seconds, Drew Ruggles gets into it with, not gets into it. He and one of the Savage players tangle a little bit. Cerda comes over as a man with a captain's armband, and then Chabo takes offense. And he is the one who initiated, the head coach of the Savage was the one who initiated the entire thing that happened on the field. But according to the league, he was not the first person on the field. It was an assistant coach. The assistant coach that they're talking about, is that him? The guy talking to Mendez? I don't even know really who they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Because Chabo was in the middle of the whole thing. And then Chiky Luna, you can see in the gray coat on the field, he and Chabo get into it. And this is what you didn't see. Okay, just pause it for a second. This is what you didn't see. Chabo and CHIKY got into it. Chabo put hands on CHIKY on the back of his neck. Serta took those hands off of CHIKY, kind of chop down, clear the hand. And that's when Chabo put Serta in a headlock across the boards. He was on one side of the boards, Serta was on the other. And that's when everyone was swarmed in. None of this was shown on television. I announced it all live on CBS Sports Golazo. They didn't have a shot of it. I glanced over and saw they didn't have a shot of it. So that's what happened. What you're seeing in those closing moments, that's afterwards. And then the teams went to their locker room finally. And then the officials all went and huddled on a monitor. And Ryan said they watched film of it. But I'm trying to figure out what that film was, because the Spanish language broadcast cut away. Maybe there's a raw feed.
Knowing how the feed works, there has to be. Like, just knowing the mechanics of that, having to do a dual translation championship game the last 2 years, like, they're 100%. So where is it? Why did they choose not to? I understand why. In the Spanish one, the commentators are actually saying, like, putting the blame completely on the referees and just the lack of cards, and how could they let it get to this point? We warned everybody in the audience and attendance not to throw anything. Let's make sure that the tempers are cool. This is not okay. We're not supposed to do this, but the referees are the ones that are allowing this. And then when they came back to it with all the cards, they were like, whoa, they're the cards that they should have given in the first quarter or two. So that's the context that I had. Not all of that. And that changes not one, not two, not just, it changes the entire dynamic of this game as it did and then unfolded. But with that context, that's not allowed. That's not permissible.
I again want to make very, very clear when I'm saying this that Chihuahua won the championship so straight up. Okay. Yeah. And everything I'm saying, I'm not suggesting in some conspiratorial fashion was the reason why. But in a 4-4 game, the player at that moment, 30 minutes in, who had played the absolute best of any player on the floor, either team, was Cesar Cerda. What the officials gave out was a red card to a functionary, essentially, to an assistant coach. I mean, Renee's more out on the field than one of their assistant coaches. They gave a yellow to Chabo, which is meaningless. It means he has to throw his choice of a player into the box for 5 minutes. And they gave Serta a yellow, which meant the best player for the Sockers didn't play the first 5 minutes plus of the third quarter. And when he comes back out, it's a 1-game lead. And if Phil's saying right there, if I did what Chabo did, I would get a red card, he's 100,000 billion trillion % correct.
Yes.
But instead, random guy gets a red card. Random guy gets a red card, and Chabo gets a yellow card.
Well, no, from the footage, right? What footage, though? Like, what did they see? Yeah. How did they identify the individuals? Like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so that's how this sorts coming out of the locker room. All of this was done out of the locker room. Okay. Although the officials went over to the locker rooms after they had finished watching the film. 4-4, and by the way, they keep, this is some classic stuff, actually. I mean, you went to WrestleMania. I mean, are we mad at this? Are we kind of happy about this? Okay, but here we are. We're in the yellow card period, and there's cool.
Oh boy.
5-4. Not good. This was a spill by Boris. Mm-hmm. This is such an intense environment. There's literally drummers like banging drums behind him. That was not That was not a great goal. And there were other mistakes, but there were mistakes by players all around the floor. Not by Mendes. What a rip. 5-5. Hope springs eternal. Serta's back. But at this point, there's another thing really, I think it's important. You won't see this in the highlight. At this point, Tavoy Morgan, there's the lead. Morgan had 4 fouls, according to the official stat sheet at halftime, which couldn't be correct because they never give a power play. So he had 3, but they called 2 on him very, very quick in the third quarter, including one where there was very much a touch foul. And so he was basically taken out of the game, the rest of the game. Here comes all the endless set pieces. I mean, this is like their 30th set piece of the night. They're going to score. They have every angle sorted in this game. Here's another one. Set piece, goal.
And the defending,
beautiful pass.
Yeah. And again, the Sockers were playing to win. They were playing to win this game. There was, I don't think, an ounce of anybody who said, "Okay, let's extend this to the mini game. Let's now put it back." Like, you can tell, like, they were fighting the entire time, and
this was the one break right here. And so you could say there was one on each side, right? That kind of corkscrewed in on a short post. And it's a 2-goal game again, but the Sockers go to 6 attackers. And I said it on the broadcast, Tony. I said this is the worst place in the league to go to 6 attackers. You just don't have a chance. So, okay, 8-6, 9-6, 10-6. Knockout game comes. It's a knockout. The Savage suited a couple new players, so did the Sockers, but the one they suited is this, number 11, Martin Lara, assists on the first 2 goals.
Martin Lara, who had something to prove, especially after being taken out from a yellow card here at the game at Front Wave Arena too. So he just got shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was ready to go. They warmed up 8 players between games. They told the whole team, you might be in. But they brought in Lara. 3-0, you know. Yeah. There's nothing there. You can see it. You can see it in the guys.
Yeah.
And another, and then, you know, and then it ends, and then they get the trophies. And I learned for the first time there's a finalist trophy. Literally, they handed Craig something. I'm like, what is that?
Oh.
And they're like, oh, that's the finalist trophy. I'm like, huh. Because the modern Sockers are now just 6-1 all time in grand finals. They were 6-0. The franchise dating back to 1978 is now 16-2 all time in grand finals. It is difficult maybe for us to process the idea of getting to the mountaintop and losing, because normally we go to semifinal mountain and lose, but when we get to the mountaintop, we are on top and we win. But it didn't happen this time. And to be honest, I don't know if it would have happened the other way around, because Chihuahua would have won game 1. And then they would have brought in their strategy to Front Wave Arena. The Sockers didn't use that strategy. They used the strategy of trying to win game 2. They went all out to win game 2. And when they didn't win game 2, there was nothing left in the tank. You know, they switched in Keiko Gontan. He played a little in the mini game. They played Mojica. He played almost not at all. Poor Rojo got booed more than anyone, because the fans at Corner Sport in unison and instantly boo a player that kicks it into the high netting. It's pretty cool. It's like a college basketball team on air ball, you know, like that. That's what it's like. And Ismail never hit the frame once the entire night. He literally missed out of bounds every single time. They did play Irvin Mojica a few seconds. These players aren't connected with the team. They haven't practiced with the team. It's not a video game. It's not a video game. You know, again, the Savage won the Women's League, the MASL 2, and the Shield, and this. So they have a system. They have a youth academy. They have a system. We have Cardiff Stalkers. I'm not saying there's not, but that's designing outdoor players, of course. They're all in, and they won. And congratulations to them. They won. The Stalkers must reckon with the fact that they didn't win. That this is 3 years in a row. So you can't throw your fist up at, if the refs did this, if the arena was that, if they only did this, if they only did that, we would have this, they would have that. Losers make excuses and winners find solutions. That's a fun thing that the Padres manager, Mike Schilt, says. He normally sticks to the winners find solutions part, but it's true. And that's where the Sockers stand today. They need to stand and kind of take it on the chin and understand that I think it was a great effort by our boys. I think they were the best prepared I've seen them. They were immaculately prepared.
Yeah.
They played as hard as they possibly could. They put it all out there. I saw it. It was like a boxing match. It really was, where somebody came in ready to go and kept in there and kept in there and kept in there. But then you see them starting to slow down. The will is there, but the legs are starting to fade. The will is there, but the mistakes are starting to be made in an environment where it's impossible almost not to make mistakes. It's probably 92 degrees at 4,600 feet with the crowd on top of you, with a mariachi band playing, with the mic, with the speakers blaring, with everything going on. They played their damnedest. They really did. I was proud of that team. I was proud of that team's effort. And 6-0. Oh, I'm not proud. It was over. As I said on the broadcast, if it was a boxing match at that point, they would have stopped the fight.
Stopped it. Yeah.
They would have stopped the fight. But a boxer who has the fight stopped, that's not a boxer who lost its heart. It's a boxer who lost his legs, and that's what happened. The Savage wore them down and got the knockout punch, and that's literally their strategy. It's literally what they've done to win 34 straight games against American teams. I wouldn't believe that. And that's where we are with that one. Let's bring on a man who can speak to all of it. He helps build the roster, coach the roster, travels with the team, works intimately, of course, with our dear friend, head coach, owner Phil Savaggio. He's also the owner of Calafino Tequila, and he's the general manager of the San Diego Sockers. And by the way, he was right in the middle of the whole thing that happened in them of the Michiganders. So let's bring on a friend that I've known since 2009, CHIKY Luna, here on Soccer's Overtime. Hi, CHIKY.
Hey, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me on. I apologize, not in studio or home. I'm actually sitting here in the car right now watching my son practice after that long, disappointing trip at the end of the day. But, hey, we're back to real life now, and we're trying to suck it all in. And, it's been, a day and a half that we've been able to just kind of sit on it and, take in what happened this weekend.
Well, along those lines, that's where we'll kick it off. We just played through the highlights. I tried to add a lot of the things that weren't in that short first reel that Eddie could put together. And, driving out in the MASL bus afterwards, I talking to the commissioner, talking to all those folks at the league, I said, I don't know who could come in and win right now in Chihuahua with the temperature, the altitude, the volume, the boards, beyond just the field size. It's an incredible advantage that they've built. They've built a great program, and they've taken us out 3 straight times. I can't shake my fist at the sun. You know what I mean? It's up to us now.
Right. And, first of all, Chihuahua has done a great job assembling that roster, um, having the right program. The organization is, they've done just a great job competing, winning, which is most important right at the end of the day. Um, they, a three-time champion. I don't care what league you play in. I don't care what you're doing. You could be playing at a local YMCA, and to win three championships in a row is very, very difficult. The ball has to bounce your way. Uh, you have to get lucky breaks, and they've managed to do that for 3 years in a row. So, you can't discredit what they are doing. Um, they've done a great job, like I said, 3 years in a row. Great players on that roster. Then there's the other side of the coin, right? Um, where do they have an advantage? I mean, I'm sure they're at a disadvantage when they go play on
Agree.
the road, right? They'll
We
play on the
lost
road.
Cheeky for
They're
a
at
little
a
bit. We'll go ahead and get him back. I mean, yeah, it's true. He's had a couple times process. I think we got him back here. Boom.
yeah. Sorry, I hope I'm not in and out just because I'm out in the soccer fields, but they've done a great job. The players there, fantastic players. We know all the players there at that team, and they're very good players. No matter where they play, what team they go to, um, they're going to be very good players. So nothing against Chihuahua, the team. Congratulations to them. I haven't had a chance to uh, watch the game yet. I don't want to watch the game yet. I'm not ready for it. I'm sure I will soon be able to analyze and take in what happened and kind of go from there. But Craig, to just the last bit that you said, they figured it out. They definitely have taken advantage of playing on that field, which has worked out for them. They've raised the cup three times at that same I call it a field or a facility. You can't call that an arena. You can't call that a stadium. It is what it is, right? Um, from our end, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out how to go there, how to win on a field that is, I don't know, unless something changed by league standards. From what I understand, it's not league standards. Um, but, the league commissioner's office chooses to let them play on that field. They, I won't mention names. We know who they are. They pick and choose what they want to enforce and what they want to turn their eye to, right? Just little things that uh, do I agree? No, but that's not my job, right? That's up to the league commissioner's office to make those decisions. It's up to the team owners to make decisions. My job is to build a roster, build a team, compete, and now I got to figure out how do we. It's almost like I have to build two teams. One team to play in every other facility in this league, and then you got to build a separate team to play at for lack of a better word, a rec center that is playing a final in a professional league, but we're playing at a rec center that is well below standards than some of the rec centers that we have here that we practice at, and that's some of the frustrations. Not against Chihuahua, like I said, they're doing what they have to do, but it's frustrations against higher powers that are out there.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously now being able to process it a couple of days separated from there, but looking at the actual game, just how disappointed is it to have the match start your way and everything's kind of falling into place and that game plan is working out, only to see it go downhill so hard in the fourth and then eventually the mini game in the fifth quarter essentially. How was that processing like for you?
Yeah, we came out what we thought was a good game plan. The first quarter looked great. Second quarter, we were, you know, I thought we looked good. Had some things not go our way. It ended up being 4-4 at halftime. I felt comfortable. I thought we were in it. I thought we had a chance at winning that game. Then, some stuff happened, incidents happened. The whole momentum changed. A few calls that happened, and they got momentum. And once Chihuahua gets momentum on that little field, it's hard to stop it. It's hard to stop the momentum once they get going on that little field. It's easier to battle and change momentum in a real size field that we're supposed to be playing in. But when you play on that little rec center, it's very hard to get the momentum back or put a stop to it, just with all the shenanigans that happen at that field.
Well, we got to get into the shenanigans because amazingly, there seems to be no tape of what
Yeah.
happened at the end of the second quarter, except for which we had on our tape and we replayed again the very, very end, literally as the buzzer sounds, which is Ruggles gets into it very lightly with another Savage player, sort of walks over, and Chabo jumps the wall and comes right into the middle of it and is the first person off the bench for the Chihuahua Savage. Now, according to the MASL and their official telling of it, it was an assistant coach that was first off the bench. But that's Chabo. We can, if we were in the court of law, we can. Who is that man? That's Chabo Martinez, right there, coming off of the bench.
Is that all that's on tape? Just what
That's
you guys
literally
showed?
it. That's it.
Stops?
Yeah, because the Mexican
Yeah.
broadcast went to highlights.
Of course.
Ours, the replay truck was both out of commission at that time, and there was a camera that had been taken down to go to the field that wasn't on, and we had like some shot of the goal or something. Like it just had my play-by-play, and it was my old hockey instincts, Cheeks, to like when a fight starts to start calling like everything that's happening, which included Serta and Chabo being head-to-head for a long time, you being in there, hands being placed on you, hands being knocked off you, and then a headlock being applied on Cesar Cerda by Chabo over the boards. You were right there. That's how I saw it from across the field as you saw me up in a crow's nest. You were right there with the hands. In your own words, please, what you saw.
Yeah, and I'll try to keep it civil. I was very upset, right? We got off the bench, looking to go into, I don't know if we call it a locker room, right? We looked to go into the little bathroom that they put us in, right next to the females' locker room. So we're trying to get off our bench, go inside, and then that's when I saw Ruggles talking to one of their players, which is normal. That happens on the field. Players go back and forth. No issues with that. Then as soon as I saw Chevo run over there and get into Ruggles' face and put his hands on Ruggles, then that's when I ran over there, because that's where you draw the line, right? A coach should not put their hands on a player. Can you yell at a player? Sure, it happens. We get heated. Words are exchanged between players and coaches. I'm okay with that. It's disrespectful for a coach, and I've been guilty of it. I get caught up in the heat of the moment. You get caught up in the game. However, putting your hands on a player is crossing the line. So when I ran over there, I stepped in between Chebo, Ruggles. I tried to pull Ruggles away, try to get him in the locker room. And then I went up to Chebo directly, because I know Chebo, let's not forget, Chebo started with the Sockers 10 years ago. He was our fitness trainer. Then we gave him an opportunity. We actually sent him up to Turlock to go be the head coach in Turlock. We got Chevo a work visa 8-10 years ago. And then we signed off on his work visa for a lot of years, right? This is when we were still able to get work visas with the league. So there's a history there between Chebo and the organization. When when he puts his hands on the player and I try to talk to him, he's very heated. I got heated too. But for him to then put his hands on me, I turned around because I was trying to walk away, and he puts his hands around the back of my neck and shoulders and pulls me back, and that's what Serta saw. So when he's sitting there pulling me back and holding me by the back of the neck against their boards with their whole team there, Serta jumped in the middle and pushed them away. Said, and I was right there when Serta's like, "Get your hands off him! Don't put your hands on him." And I grabbed Serta trying to push him away, and we turned around, tried to walk away, and that's when Chebo runs over, lunges over the boards and puts Serta in a headlock. And I turn around, right when that happens, and I go after Chebo and get your hands off, Serta. So I'm trying to get Chebo off. All the referees were there, right? They saw exactly what happened. I talked to all the referees. They specifically saw Chebo do that. They, they'll say what they need to say. Had it been at a different facility, different field, had, the cameras not stopped working, a few different times, had the internet not gone off a few different times, had the scoreboard not stopped a few different times, the story would be different, right? But once again, that's kind of what happened. Referees came in, stepped in, didn't go any further. No punches were thrown. It just got heated. The worst that happened was, in the whole incident, Chebo putting his hands on the back of my neck and pulling me against the board, Serta getting in a headlock, and then the guy that ended up getting a red card, I don't even know what he does for the team. I don't know if he's assistant coach or something to do with the team, because they had their whole second team and they had about 20 people on their bench. So you couldn't tell who was who. And that guy ended up putting his hands on Serta around his neck. And that's why that guy got the red card. But that's what happened in that halftime incident. We all went inside, everyone calmed down, and then we returned and played the second half. So not much more to say about that.
No, pues I'm sorry. Like, ¿qué son cosas esas, vato? Eso es anti-football. That's anti-soccer. That's anti just everything, right? Like, I get a strong foul. I get the heat of the moment things, but what even is that, Matt? Like, I'm getting the perspective because this is the first time I'm hearing this. I saw both broadcasts. I'm watching in English and Spanish. Oh, okay, the replays, the goals, here's the first half. I'm like, what's going on? Like, this is not knowing how the production of this should go in the flow. There should be some angle, but clearly the referees saw an angle. But now you're saying that the referees were even there. They didn't need footage. They were there to see what actually happened. That's just incredible. I'm very upset.
In my opinion, sorry to cut you off. In my opinion, they were right in the middle of it, and red card should have gone out immediately. I was surprised not to see the red card go out immediately, and I thought for sure halftime we're coming out and there's red cards that are going out, and I was very surprised. Kind of, right? I was surprised it didn't happen, but then again, it is what it is. It at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of those things, especially when you play at those facilities down south of the border, and it is what it is.
And it was Chebo who put hands on Cerda, right? That's the part that blows my mind.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's disappointing because of the history, right? Chebo is actually good friends with Serta. They played together on the Mexican national team. There's a history there between them. Sure, we all make mistakes. I'm sure Chebo regrets doing that, and if he had to go back, he would never do that because it was very aggressive, and you don't do that as a coach. So
that's exactly right. Just a couple other things, Cheeks. When I think about the game flow of that game, and we talked about it a lot on the broadcast as well. You have Fernando Pena and Arturo Ibarra. I've seen Fernando officiate grand finals many times, going back to 2009. He's not going to pull a blue unless somebody's bleeding red. Like that's pretty much Fernando's level of where a blue is going to come out. But they made the decision to call basically every common foul that they could call on the floor throughout the game. And as a result, your club was very foul saddled going into the second half, including, of course, Chavoy, who picked up 4 minutes into the third quarter. How much did that affect your guys' strategy? Because you knew that even when you throw Chavoy out there, he's going out there knowing if he touches anybody, he's kicked out of the game and it's a red card power play.
Yeah, I mean that's not an excuse, right? We didn't lose the game because of the referees. Do we agree with every call? No, we're never going to. Was I surprised to see that tandem there of those two referees chosen? Very much so. However, they didn't influence the result of the game. Chihuahua just
And I agree.
flat out beat us. Had they called the game tighter, would it have been a different game? I don't know. They would have, on that day, you could have had any referees out there. They would have beat us, right? The way the game went down, they would have beat us. It's just they were the better team, and they were, they know they're small. They know how to play on that small field on those Lego boards, with the plexiglass, or I don't know what it is. They know how to play on that little Lego field. That's maybe playing 4-on-4 might be a better idea there. But the referees had nothing to do with the result. That was Chihuahua beating us. That's what it was.
100%. No, 100,000% couldn't agree more. Said the same thing before you came on to start the show.
The red card that on Chebo, yeah, that should have been a red card. Would that have changed the result? I don't know, and I don't think so. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's all just it's good for radio. I love it. It keeps the league talking. But at the end of the day, there's just a lot of things there that the higher powers need to step up, and they've been saying it for years that things are going to change, and there's just so many things that happened there. Going into the game, there was some promises made by certain league officials. We went back and forth on an email. Even during the game, I sent a text message because we didn't feel safe with certain things. Nothing was done from what they promised, and that's just a whole different subject, though.
Well, let's wrap it up here, because the tip of the cap is to Chihuahua. They won the Shield, they won the championship, they won M2, they won women's MASL. They've got a youth academy, they've got a system, they've got a great fan base. No one could walk into that arena and not know that. That was the most and I said it on the air too on the English broadcast, Chiky, was the most connected fan base I'd ever been to for any arena football game ever. I mean, the instant any player kicked it high, boo, all the way across. I mean, they were in unison in a lot of what they were doing. I was really impressed. I met the Chihuahua owners. I know what their passion. They deserve their success. Here in Soccer Town, there's nothing wrong with losing a final. I know it's the first time for you. After 6 wins, it's the first time, but a team loses in the final every year. It's great to get to the final, but it's a team that's certainly got a core that's gotten a lot older. You've also brought in some new young players along the way. What kind of on a broad exit way, what are your thoughts on going into this off season for San Diego?
As a team, it's like every year, we hold ourselves to a certain standard. It's either a championship or it's not good enough. I'm going to give it a few days, and we're going to start I don't want to say rebuild. I think we have a great team. We do need to add some pieces for next year. I think we'll be very active in the free agency period. We are limited, right, because of certain decisions that certain league officials decided on last year. The visa situation is a big one. We worked hard last offseason, worked with an attorney. There was a way to be able to get players on a visa for us. And league officials decided that they didn't want to go down that road, and they didn't allow us to sign international players because they couldn't get a visa here in the U.S. traditionally. So, this offseason, I don't know, if they're just going to open up free agency normal, if they're going to allow for us to be able to use a visa the way the legal system says we can. Immigration attorney says there's no problem, you can do that. Yes, you can sign a player that way, and you're breaking no laws in the U.S. So we thought we were set, and certain people at the league office decided no, not to go down that road. So we'll see what they come up with this offseason. If they're going to allow us to go down that road, if we're going to be able to, whatever it is, 14 teams have to fight for the top American talent in indoor soccer. And then, there's one team that can pick any teams around or any player around the world to build on. So, that's a whole different thing this offseason that we'll have to face with the league. Then we have the whole thing with our team, who we're bringing back, who's not, what do we need to add to win a championship. But we're already starting to look at that. And like I said, it's a few days to just let this get over, the hurt, get over the pain, and then we can start to look to rebuild this roster for next year.
Yeah, it's just like you say, never go to bed angry, or, don't make a decision on an empty stomach, those types of things. Yeah, you need a little time, let it process, let us all get over it. But Chik, I want to say this. I said it earlier, but I want to say it with you on the air to make sure you heard it too. I thought you guys were so prepared for that game, better prepared to play at Corner Sport than you have been in 3 years. You guys played your butts off and honestly threw your chips all in game 2, as hard as they were playing. Sort of played basically the best game I've ever seen him play in match 2. He should have been credited with 16 blocked shots, like probably literally. Every one of your defenders, Cardenas, Quintana, Raymond, like down the line, I don't want to skip anybody, but everyone was blocking shots. Christian, Leo, they were just playing their butts off. It's hard to win there. It's high altitude, bad air, hot temperature, louder and more intense than anything I've been in 16 years. And I thought you guys played great. It sucks to lose. It does. It sucks to lose. But keep your chin up. Let's make the adjustments. Let's come back next year and try to kick butt again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're, like I told the guys in the locker room as soon as the game got done, proud of the guys. Great season. Worked their butt off. They didn't quit. Result is not what we wanted, but I promised that team that we're going to come back stronger. We're going to add to the roster to make us better. And I promised them that it's our job this offseason to give them the tools and the team to get back to that final and win it. We'll talk to the league office in the offseason and, just see what changes they're going to do. They keep talking about growing this league, which is great. There's rumors and talks with certain franchises that are coming in, and it's going to be great for the sport. They're great arenas. The product will be professional. It won't be, and I keep going back to it without sounding mean to the organization, but when you're a professional franchise and we're playing at all these nice venues here in the U.S., Monterey had a great program. They had a great arena. They were professional, and right now we're asking all these teams to go and play in an environment that it's just not professional, in my opinion. Like I said, I had to go back on emails with a certain person at the league saying, hey, we need these things for player safety. There were certain promises made that didn't happen. it is what it is. Hopefully they change certain things next year, or we just got to figure out a way how to, like I said, maybe build a second team that is comfortable playing in little rec centers, and they can play in a foot. It's literally playing futsal with Lego boards. So maybe we need to find a futsal team to go compete, playing inside the Lego field, and we go from there.
It's we'll call it Soccer's 3 or Soccer's Mini. Or
Soccer's Lego.
Soccer's Lego. Hey, and listen, if we can get the real partnership, now we're talking. But
Yeah.
All right, Chiky, you've been really generous with your time, and you've given us a whole lot. Thank you so much. You know I love you. Thank you guys. Incredible being back around the team, traveling on a final, and being down in Mexico again, and obviously not the result we wanted. But thanks again, as always. It's great to be back.
And, great season. Congrats to the Savage, 3 years in a row. It's not easy. They've done a great job, and, it's looking forward to the rivalry next year. Hopefully it's just on a real field next time.
All right, buddy. Go get Santi.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Take care. I texted you earlier this afternoon. I said we'd probably
Oh man,
go places.
I was mad. Like I was legitimately mad at that result on Sunday. This is beyond just like stooping, and gamesmanship is one thing. But when everything is kind of coming against you and you're doing your damnedest, and that's where, I feel for the players, and yeah, nobody was going to beat Chihuahua that night. Just nobody was. It was just, I don't care what team went down there and played their best game. No team was going to beat Chihuahua.
No.
But man, that the play-by-play of being in that scrum and just everything follows. Everything that Chiky said follows. And everything, I was like, okay, that's a chain reaction. This and this and this and this. But then the chain breaks when this and this should have happened. Instead, you gotta, what's that guy's doing on the bench? No, that's the fall guy. That's what they got him for. Like they have a guy. It's like you see it in middle school basketball where there's just one kid that's like, what are you doing on the basketball court? And then he goes in and fouls like three of the best players. You're like, you're just, that's your guy. But that is.
He did old movie reference. He did the I am Spartacus. He goes, no, I am. It's like, no. And I like Chabo. Like every single time that the Sockers play the Savage, we exchange a hug. He won TST last year as the head coach of La Bombonera. He's a rising star in the league. He is. He made a mistake that night. He should have been red carded out of the match. That's just because that's what happens when you do those things. You get red carded. So he didn't, and that was wrong. And I knew that. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be really curious when they put up the English language broadcast, what they do with that. And I hope they don't edit it out, because I would like to hear my play-by-play of it.
To submit it to a boxing company?
No, just because. No, I'm going to tell you, just God honest truth, Tony. Like in a situation like that, there's no thoughts in my mind at all. It's purely, what am I seeing? And I say those things. I remember a time all the way back, God, like 2009 or 2010. And it was at one of the Mexican teams, La Raza Guadalajara or Mexico City, and they got into it between the benches. And all this stuff was going on. And in the middle of it, our captain, Aaron Susi, threw a water bottle. And I called it in real time. Like, Susi throws a water bottle. And like, he got suspended. They couldn't see it on the field, but he got suspended because I called it. And he was mad at me. But it's like, I couldn't, like, for example, Felipe Gonzalez came running from the fucking came running from the stands. Came running from the stands with jeans on and a 24 kit. and was in the box, like yelling at people, and was in the middle of it. Like, like I called, like, and Felipe's there. Like, obviously that's not where he's supposed to be. Normally you would, as a fan in that situation, you'd be ejected from the stadium, right? Like in America. But in that situation, we went back to a seat. I'm sorry, Susan. I'm so sorry. But it was we came like, boom, like it just came right in. And I called that in the run of it because I saw it. And I called Chable putting Serta in a headlock because I saw it. And I said in that, Chable cannot come back to this match because that's what happens when a coach headlocks a player on another team. They get suspended, they get fined, they get
the boy gets arrested.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, right, exactly. That might be Aaron. That's why he doesn't want to talk to the Sockers anymore. It's because of that. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, and that's it. I love Chable. I respect him. He could have been coach of the year. He made a mistake. If Phil had done the same thing, I'd say the same thing. He's a great coach, a Hall of Famer. He made a mistake. And you'd get what you pay for. You'd get red carded out. You'd be stuck watching it from the locker room. And as Chiky said, it doesn't change the result. It doesn't change the result one bit. So that's where it is. That's where it is. I want to just, if I can, just even play the picture out more, because I got to tell you, being there, I felt it was a unique sporting experience in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to start with what I think is the hidden killer in all of this. Chihuahua's 4,600 feet above sea level. It's just 600 feet less than Denver. Okay, Denver's famously 5202. They put it on the Nuggets jerseys. Chihuahua's 4,600. I'll tell you personally, I didn't realize it until on Saturday, being at the 4642. There you go. So less than 600. Difference between 52 and whatever. Sorry. I got mixed up with the 3202 or whatever, or 3252. I don't know. Numbers. High, also really high, like close to a mile high, actually a mile high. Okay, sorry. Anyways, 4642. I'm on the treadmill at the hotel. Very nice hotel. Distrito Uno, 4 Points Sheraton. Lovely. Everything. Staff great. Hotel great. I'm doing my regular exercise, 5K. Got HBO Max playing The Leftovers in front of me. I'm just grooving along, and then I'm like, slow down. Did I not get enough sleep? Am I this, that? Okay, get back up to speed. Slow down. Like, to the point that I literally on the treadmill Googled, what's the altitude of Chihuahua? And I'm like, oh, now I get it. Here's something else. If you've got an iPhone or an Apple Watch or whatever, you may get alerts for air quality.
Yes.
Chihuahua never got beyond poor. It was either poor or very poor the entire time. That has an impact on you physically as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not used to the air, right? You're at altitude, breathing in thin air that's also, whether it's just the dust from the desert areas around it or the contaminant of the moment, I don't know. But I got very poor air quality alerts all through Sunday on my phone. Then, well, I mean, it looks okay today, I guess.
Well, no, today, no. But even then, it's poor. Don't let the green and yellow. That's how they trick you. I was looking at it, I'm like, that's not bad, but no.
Yellow is poor.
Poor. Yeah, it's poor.
Yeah. So then you get into Corner Sport Arena. And let me tell you about another one of those notifications you get. You get the noise, right? Loud environment. You're in an environment above 90 decibels. 15 minutes at this can lead to ear damage. Oh, you're at 95 decibels. 10 minutes could lead. I'm not kidding you. I got like 15 to 20 of those notifications during the match.
Wow.
On Sunday. Now, it's a very small facility. Some may use other words to describe it. I'm just going to call it Corner Sport Arena.
Lego field? What was it, Chiky?
By the way, it's a pretty cool place. There's luxury suites above us that you don't have to climb up ladders to get to. There's a whole outdoor area that's got like indoor fields, like 2 of them, with chain link fences around them, nighttime games, league games could be played. And then you go around and there's a bar. And then in there's like golf simulators, pool tables, other stuff. Like it's Corner Sport Arena, man. It's pretty happening. Like, good place to go in Chihuahua. Well put together. But when you put 1,200 people in the main arena, you raise the temperature. Like it was hot to begin with. They did install like some gigantic fans. There's like 4 gigantic fans that are going, and it helps a little. But it was hot there. Not like ridiculous, but it's hot. So you're at 46, 42 with the poor air quality, with the noise unrelenting. Think about how horrible institutions torture people. They keep blasting music nonstop. Like, you can't sleep, you can't relax, you can't think. We're going to play 100 decibel music, right? We're going to keep the lights bright. We're going to keep the music blasting. And you can't sleep, you can't think, you can't focus, you can't rest. It's like that the whole time. I mean, they started with a military marching band coming out, and then the dude on the PA really loud. They were blasting Metallica and whatever, like all the time. And then, with about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, if you've ever been to Petco Park, you know that like on a Friday night, the mariachi band will be there between like maybe middle of the third inning, right? Just holding the note and like, and eventually they may play Cielo Lindo or whatever, but these guys show up to do the job, are given the full run of, like, I think PA pretty much was trying to shout over it, but they were like 100% of the volume, and they played. And they played. And they played it all the way down. And like, people were telling me like they could barely hear me on the broadcast because the mariachi. And I'm like, run of play, stoppage of play, argument, player hurt on the field. It didn't matter. The mariachi band played. And it was overpowering. It was like, what a psychological thing to do. As things are slipping away, you're 2 goals down, you're trying to fight your way back. And, it's like, Cielo Lindo, it's like, like just firing through, like, just so loud, so tired. I kept bringing it up even when it was 4-2. I'm like, remember, elevation shows up at the end of halves.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you feel like you had normally the energy you have to get to the end. You lost it with 3 minutes left. You're like, this is normally the amount I need. Why is this not enough? And it just happens. Add it all up. And again, I want to say it. The fan base is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing. They're locked in. They're screaming. There's dudes with drums right behind Boris. Chow, 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 chow. Like, they're in. They are in all the way. You don't want the environment? The league's allowed it. This is Mexico. Like, you want teams in Mexico, you don't want it to be like this. You want teams in Mexico, but you want it to be like America. Some reckoning there, isn't there? Like, there's some cultural reckoning there. Like, you can't have it both ways. They have taken what they have and they have maximized it. They've absolutely maximized it. And yes, the boards are wild and weird. And let me share with you that Saturday, the Sockers had a designated practice time, and it was then pushed back a half an hour. And when they arrived to a field that was essentially rolled up. The boards were gone. They had been pushed to the sides, erratically so, like Charlie Brown's pattern almost, to the sides. None of the Wallace scoreboards were in place. None of them at all. There were no boards there at all. It was just a bare goal. The other side had a bare goal with a bunch of stuff sticking through it that they had to move in order to even do anything with it. And it depends on who you believe. It depends on who you believe. Some of our players who are Mexican and know players on Chihuahua may have heard that their team practiced on a fully functional field at 9 o'clock that morning.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not true. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those, spurious rumors that came along. But I walked in and I was like, yep. Can I tell you, when practice started, all of a sudden music started blasting? Like, we didn't even know from where and to who. And then we had to, one of the coaches was screaming to, turn it down. Like, all the way. They're in all the way. You hate all this stuff? Do you ever go hear about the old Lakers and Celtics?
Mm-hmm. Just the
shenanigans at Boston Garden?
Yeah.
Freezing water only in the visiting locker room. But then the temperature would be turned up in there to 90. Fire alarms at their hotel at 3 a.m. the night before a finals game. And dead spots on the floor of the old parquet of the Boston Garden, that they would know where those spots were. But you didn't know for sure. And that's what the Savage have. They know where to hit it on the board, that it's going to go directly horizontally across. And they have a play every time where if a guy's on left wing shooting, there's another guy running laterally across the floor. Like, you see it more in person. Like, they've designed so many things for the spot on the board where it pops up and curves, the spot on the board where it shoots out weird, the spot on the board where it skips, where you think it would come out straight, but it doesn't. They know where to hit it. They keep the ball down. Our dudes hit the ball into the net 50,000 times. And in the second quarter, as they were getting tired, over the wall so many times. One time Quintana was just all alone, and he played there last year, right behind the line, and he just spins the ball out of bounds. All the way, okay, top of the arc again. They had a dozen great set pieces in the second quarter, and again, probably 24 for the game. And that's the way they play, because it's a narrower field too. So a play where you think you're making a normal clearance to the wall, it's a clearance over the wall. And there's only glass behind the goals, really, not glass and netting, so shout out to netting. But it's low all the rest of the way, including a goodly piece of the defensive zone. There's a good piece of the defensive zone, and there is a decent piece of it at San Diego. It's not quite as much, but there's a decent piece at San Diego too. But the point is, it's wider and it's different, and players make a play that they think is a good play, and then the ball's over the board, and they've surrendered yet another set piece. So I walked away from there, and I was in the MASL bus traveling home with the commissioner. I said it to the commissioner. I said it to the deputy commissioner, to all of them. I said, I don't think anyone can win here. A Mexican team could, Monterrey could, or Guadalajara could, or whoever, Sonora, Tijuana, whoever. But US, add it all up, and I really do put altitude at the top of the list. Like all those other things you might be able to overcome, but you're also sucking wind with 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and they're ready to go. They live in it. They live in it, practice in it, play in it. It's an advantage. It's why Denver always had a great home field advantage. The Nuggets, before the Rockies were just bankrupt and horrible, they used to as well. The Avalanche won the Stanley Cup with that. Imagine playing hockey and gasping for air like that, right? So it's a gigantic advantage, and maybe impregnable. I don't know. Obviously, I think the league built an entire playoff this year specifically to beat Chihuahua and not have the final in Chihuahua. And Chihuahua beat the system. They completely beat the system. They won enough points stateside to get the shield, and then they went to San Diego and they beat two teams on the plush turf, and they didn't have to face San Diego on the plush turf, which is what the whole dream of the whole thing probably was, that they can get them here in a one-game set and beat them. And instead, they earned it. They earned every stitch of it. Every stitch of it. So, I left impressed. I have to say, I loved being in Chihuahua. Where we were? Are you kidding me? Now, I'm sure there's some parts of Chihuahua I wouldn't agree. But Distrito Uno, you might as well have dropped us off at a condo in Fashion Valley.
Wow.
It's sick, man.
Chihuahua?
Yeah. This is where we stayed. It's, and I'm telling you, restaurants, bars, fitness centers, a 7-Eleven-y type thing, and Machomos. The team went to Machomos when they got in on Friday night. And then I had stop right there.
Okay.
Filetes a la mantequilla.
Oh, boy. And this is Mexican beef. Oh, man.
Sonoran beef, specifically.
Yeah.
Which everyone said that's where the beef is.
Yep.
In Mexico. So Friday night I had this. I had filetes a la mantequilla, and I will tell you, it was the best bite of steak I ever had in my entire life.
Wow.
Wow. Dude, so I took a bite, and it was one of those things. It would have been hilarious if you had shot it, right? Like if you had video, because I had those drops of God looks on your face, like you're just like I'm just blown away. Then I took another. I'm shaking my head, I can't even explain how good this is. I'm thinking are there words? Is this described in colors? Do I have to use something else? Right. And with all of this going through my mind, Keiko Gontan's on the other side of the table. He goes, "The steak no good?"
No, Keiko. I'm having a moment here, actually.
That's pretty much what I said. I'm like, no, this might be the best ever. I'm trying to figure it out. It was incredible. Philly and I, Christian Philly Philima, by the way, shout out Philly, incredible. Wound up being a roommate as well. Just really, really great guy to be around for 3 days. Absolute doll. There he is. There's our staff there. Lindsay, Jack's incredible. Oscar, incredible. Got to spend so many time with them. Never mind Keith and John. There we were. But that place was ridiculous. And Saturday night, the league went to Machomos. And then the owners of Chihuahua came to the dinner. And I wound up, Tony, having absolutely what will be the best dinner of my life and indisputably the longest dinner of my life. I believe the official time would be about 5 hours and 28 minutes.
Oh, man.
On the amount of time we spent in the upstairs suite at Machomos, from first cocktail order to finally people standing up from the table. There was a staggered entry, and then there was a lot of talking. There was some speeching. There was some, drinking, and then appetizers, and eventually, like 3 hours later, it was like, have we ordered, dinner? That came, and then their owners, I don't want to say they ordered the menu of desserts, but they pretty much ordered the menu of desserts. Hang on, I should text this to you. The thing that they were all talking about was the chocolate dome. They're like, oh, let's get 4 chocolate domes for the for the room, right? For the table. But as it turned out, they only had one left. It was late. I mean, again, we left. I'm sending you the picture first, but then I'm gonna send you the all important video that goes with it. And here it comes. Okay, so as they were preparing the chocolate dome, also came out like these gigantic ice cream cakes that had some sort of crunchy stuff on the top and were ridiculous. There was a pecan pie that came out that was incredible. And then the chocolate dome came out. And it's not just a dinner, it's not just a dessert, it's a performance. It's a big white dish with a, chocolate dome.
Coming up.
Yeah, a la the Sphere in Las Vegas, right? Except not a building, just chocolate. And it comes out and it's put in the middle of the table. And then the waiter comes over with a tin of like flaming liqueur and pours it around the base of the dome. And then, of course, the dome burns and collapses.
Oh, what
there's the dome, right? So there's the dome. Not bad. Not bad, right?
And the thing about this is that this is probably like, I don't know, $20.
I think it's more, actually.
Yeah.
There's some pretty expensive stuff on there. Funny story, when Philly and I ordered a bottle of wine on Friday night, I just said, oh, I'd like if you have a Petite Syrah, like, do you have that? And they brought something out, and I looked it up the next day when I saw the actual wine list, and it was, I think, like $160 bottle of wine. It was like almost 1,000 peso bottle of wine.
That's the salary for.
Yeah, so, okay, I think are we loading up the video? Yes, here it is. Okay. So here comes the flaming liqueur.
Wow.
All right. Now the dome's structural integrity, it's doomed to fail.
That's how you felt
see in the left
altitude.
Yeah. Here it goes. Away she goes. Now right in, boom, left hand. Here comes la leche.
Oh, there's more. Oh man. This just gave me the diabetes back.
Now the boat comes in. And at the very end, when it's all said and done, he's going to throw a dollop of ice cream on top of it. Because there's a brownie in here.
Oh
there
my
it is.
God. Almost disrespectfully a scoop of ice cream. Wow.
Right?
I love that. Wow. That's phenomenal.
It's pretty damn phenomenal. Tony, I heard there's a Machomo's Tijuana. I might want to check it out.
Is
it's true?
Let's look this
if it's true,
up.
I might want to check it out. If it's true, I might want to check it out.
Yes, there is.
I think it's the best steakhouse I've ever been to in my life.
Yes,
pretty much.
There is. Machomo's Tijuana. All right. Follow.
Machomo's en casa.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Company trip down to Mexico. Yeah, to TJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right there. Machomo's Tijuana. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. So incredible stuff all the way around. I was so impressed with Chihuahua all the way around. By the way, you can get in and out. CBX, what a breeze. Volaris, Tijuana to Chihuahua, security there, pretty chill. Getting back across the border. As a citizen, I'll just say, as a citizen, but as a citizen, getting back across the border through CBX, very chill. Easier than getting out of Lindbergh.
Yeah.
And
as a white citizen, sorry.
Yes.
Jose,
passport,
different question.
I think it's still your passport's going to play pretty hard. It's
no, we get asked. So where'd you get this made?
Fair, very fair, very fair. Nonetheless, presuming it's all in place again next year and all things considered, I would not be afraid of a trip to Chihuahua. I thought it was amazing. Most of it I thought was straight up amazing, like so good. But then don't go there expecting to watch your visiting team come in and get a win. Like maybe, temper your expectations there. But if you want to see the rest of it, and maybe explore some food trucks, some taquerias, check some different things out. Couldn't recommend it enough. And the Savage ownership, really, really cool. Incredible dudes. And I was so proud, Tony. And probably having a glass of wine, gave me the courage, the fortitude to back up my 6 years of Duolingo.
Let's go.
And I gave them a tiny paragraph in Spanish on behalf of as the only soccer at the table, about the respect we had for the organization and how we know tomorrow will be the biggest challenge in our history, and the rivalry between us on the field is real, but off the field we work together to try and lift the league. And thank you with so much respect for.
I can hear you. I can hear you. La rivalidad de estos dos equipos es mucho que like you've been working
en la cancha.
En la
fuera de la cancha trabajamos juntos. Para alentar la liga.
You know what? Throw you in Spanish next year across if they do this again. Let's put you in the pressure cooker.
I was so happy. I was able to go down to the lobby, and they didn't speak a stitch of English, and get my because like it was one of those things to sign into Wi-Fi. It was like room name and number, and in classic Soccer's fashion, no one was in the room that they had originally written the number or whatever, and so I had to get that changed, and just ordering things all the way through. I can say I think I'm conversational in Spanish. Find out the directions to the gym. Donde está el gimnasio en el hotel? And I just go down, and then I go to this, and it's al lado de la escalera, and I'm like, okay, go up this other escalator. I figured it out. I could talk to the maids. I could talk to really felt good. I mean, all the days that I've just chatted with the bird over here, like it was nice. I still have a hard time when people start speaking fast.
No, que la gente habla así a veces y que ellos saben, se entienden, y pues la cosa que a veces no, creo que porque aquí está Craig.
Exactly. Yeah, and we're like, cuatro piso? Okay. Like fishing for the words I'm waiting for, But nonetheless, that was great.
I love that. I love that for you. And hey, now CBX, now you can travel into Mexico on a vacation into Mexico. It opens up so many things. Like legitimately, that's why I'm most happy that you got that experience of like almost being forced to go to Mexico and be like, oh, All right.
Well, another thing that was said to me a lot of times, Tony, is they said, "Hey, listen, in Mexico, sports is kind of a white flag.
Yeah.
So, if you're involved in a sports situation, it's not the same, as if you're just a straight up, turista, extranjero y turista también. Like that might be a slightly different algorithm for what your Mexico experience might be, as opposed to involved with a sports team. But nonetheless, I'm just telling you what I experienced. It was incredible. Okay, so wrapping things up, that's all the rest of the hubbub from the trip. I had an interview with Commissioner Tozer. He said Monterrey's probably not coming in. He said visas are, remain an issue and remain a priority. He said there's no pure decision on whether they're going to go back to conference or table. They don't have an expansion team to announce yet. Owners meetings are coming up. I'm not going to spill any tea. I heard some tea in terms of decisions that could be made involving what we saw over the weekend. Not the scuffle, nothing like that, but the fact of what's going on.
Yeah.
The
realities.
The realities of it may be addressed in the summer. And I don't want anything to be taken away from the Savage. They're doing the absolute best with their situation. They're doing the absolute best. What are they supposed to build an arena in Chihuahua? Like they're supposed to build a 5,000 seat arena? I don't know. I mean, is that a fair ask? Can you ask Baltimore to build an arena? They're renting Towson's basketball gym. Can
Home
you
of
tell
the rain delay of an indoor facility?
There's realities and there's realities. So it's give them their credit. For the Sockers, it's what are you going to do? So there's owners meetings coming up. There's TST. Here's something really exciting I heard. I wanted to share this before we get off because I'm supposed to go jump on a hot tub postgame show right now. TST3, keep your eye on West Ham. West Ham is leaning into MASL.
Oh.
They're going to put an MASL team out there, and they're going to lift up those players. Their intent is they think this is the best way they can invest right now over here. How about that?
Wow. That's incredible. Like, that's fantastic.
They were the bad team in Ted Lasso, so hard to get over if you're a big fan of that show. But
no, that's history.
Yeah. So it's going to be, again, Finley says he's going to try and announce. I told him there's nothing I'd love more than to announce TST. I think I'd literally be the best for it. But nonetheless, look for that. I'm really excited for it. I'm really, really excited for it. For TST coming up in Cary, North Carolina in month and a half about 5 or so weeks. So that'll be coming. And here, San Diego Punto Football, just amazing things happening with San Diego FC, with San Diego Wave FC, and anything happening with the Sockers over the course of the summer. This is the end of season 7. Season 8 will come round, God and country willing, in November or December next year of this year. Of this year. But as things develop, I'm sure we can chat through it through San Diego Punto Football. And you guys had a huge show yesterday. Tell everybody about what's going on.
Absolutely. You can go ahead and find everything that we do and San Diego Punto Football. Follow my WrestleMania stories. We'll do San Diego Punto Wrestling or not, because a pay-per-view is coming to Petco Park actually very soon, November 29th. Trying to get credentials for that, actually. It's a new goal. But yeah, you can find that all on San Diego Punto Football. Greg?
Well, for me, I wish I had a Padres cap right here. I just go, it's time to But Padres Hot Tub is going strong. There's a post-game show happening right now that I'm going to go jump into. You can support me at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. That helps me directly with no interlocutor, no corporation, no big guy in between. So if you're a Padres fan, check that out. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. And then, I'm still working with the Sockers, so really want to get the head start on starting to write a book about the 80s. It's something that's been a passion idea of mine, but I can't call it a passion project because all I do is talk about it. So I should do it, and then that would be a thing to do. Thank you to all the great Sockers fans. I saw some in Chihuahua. Incredible. All your support throughout the year, following us from Twitch over here to YouTube once again, and having this chance to come together as a group and just talk through things. And I know the players watch. I know we all know, everyone watches. And we thank them. We thank them for their efforts. I really think this team squeezed, they can go, oh God, the first game we lost in Tacoma or whatever, but they did great. They did great. Didn't beat Chihuahua. Neither did anybody else. Not even one other team. So that's the way it is.
And it's a long way to 16. Just remember that. It's a long way to 16.
Yeah. It's a long. Yeah, in Philly, it was like, this might be the greatest run in indoor history. I'm like, or you could win 5 in a row and then lose 1 and then win 5 more in a row, which is what this did. This team over here. Nonetheless, congrats to Chihuahua once again. Congrats to Chihuahua. All right, that's it. Thanks to Chiky Luna. For Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. Really appreciate everyone being here. We'll talk to you down the road. And until then, take care. Have a great summer.